I don't know where you're at. I don't know in your mind when I say liturgy what comes up. What comes up to the forefront of your mind? You might think archaic language, thous and these, long black robes, really boring traditional service or something. But liturgy has really been on my heart and mind a lot lately, and I think it's because of our move. We recently moved. And we had to pack up all of our things. We had a space that we lived in, a little condo, little sort of townhome. And we had all of our stuff, but we packed them into boxes and taped them so we couldn't use them anymore. And when we were in Vernon Hills, Illinois, I was the pastor of an English speaking congregation in a Taiwanese church. Lillian was a full-time worker at Hobby Lobby. My boys went to daycare 3 times a week. We had a routine. We had a rhythm in life that we knew to expect. And my boys would know, today is Tuesday, we're going to teacher Lydia's house. Today is Wednesday, we're staying home with Dad. They would know the rhythms of life. But then you move to different space, to different time zone, but to a completely different life. Now Lillian is a stay-at-home mom, no daycare for the boys, and I'm at a different church with different challenges, with a different schedule. And everything in our life has been, since this move, pretty chaotic. I don't know if you've moved. I haven't moved for a long time. Before when we moved, we moved by airplane from Brazil to Taiwan or to the United States, and so that was pretty easy. But this move has been so chaotic because everything in our life, all the order, all the space and time in our own lives has completely been uprooted. We can't cook because we don't know where a spatula is. We don't know what box that spatula is. If we don't find real plates, we have to buy paper plates. If we don't find cooking utensils, we have to eat out all the time. And not only our time as humans need to be ordered, but our space as well. When I was in CPE, Clinical Pastoral Education, it's a requirement for the ordination process, at least in the Chicago Presbytery. I was basically a chaplain intern. So I go to the hospital, and any call, any really big emergency, I go and I just try to help out any way I can without getting in the way of the doctors and nurses. And I was shadowing someone who had been doing chaplaincy for a long time. His name was Tom. And Tom told me, we were talking about a little bit about the order of life, and he talked about bringing in an at-risk child to his home. And he and his wife really were excited about helping play with this child and show them what a real life was like. But all the child wanted to do was sleep. They thought it was really strange. They said, no, we want to give this child life and play and teach. But the child just wanted to sleep. Why? Because their home, their old home, was so chaotic that they wouldn't even be able to sleep. Visitors coming in, loud visitors, alcohol abuse, all these different things, so that in their own home they were not safe, there was not order, it was just simply chaos. And so when they came to Tom's home, there was order, there was time, there was space, so they could simply sleep. The way we order our lives speaks to the priorities we give to the things we love in our lives. I saw a comic strip once that pictured a future archaeologist unearthing a common American home. Okay? Can you imagine that? And think of an alien civilization maybe coming here and looking at how your home is laid out, the space you use in your home, or an archaeologist from the future looking. And the archaeologist basically came to the conclusion that there was a very rich religion that everyone in America worshipped. They worshipped rectangular black boxes with glass in the middle. Because if you look at the spaces in our homes, we have a living room, and we have, even here, right? Part of this cult of the black rectangle. We have this in a prominent place in our house, and all the furniture is arranged to worship. I'll leave that there for now. You can think more about what that speaks to in our culture. But really, the space. We've changed these chairs. We change them for a reason. We may change the chairs down the line for the reason, but it's because space needs to be ordered in a certain way. If all the chairs were facing that way, it would say something very different than the chairs facing here. If the chairs were in a circular pattern and something was happening in the middle, that would speak something else. Space and time are ordered in a certain way. Liturgy is not an attractive word, but it's very important to all of our lives. We are made to worship. We can't help but worship as humans. As Calvin said, our minds, our hearts are idol-making machines. We will make things to worship. We make things up to worship. Furthermore, all of life is worship. Worship happens not just for an hour on Sunday, but we can and we will worship at all times and in all places. And so the psalmist we read this morning cries out in verse 1, I will bless the Lord at all times. That would certainly be ideal. We as Christians would say, yes, our God is a great God, and we should bless the Lord at all times. But how is this possible? I don't know about you, but this doesn't naturally happen. I don't bless the Lord naturally at all times. How is it possible? First, we need to know that it is possible. And to know that it is possible requires us to understand that worship is not an activity that is exclusive. Worship is not something that when we do, we can't do anything else. If that were the case, we wouldn't be able to eat, to bless the Lord at all times. We wouldn't be able to eat or sleep, take care of our children, work. We'd have to all quit our jobs. And finally, with sleep deprivation or starvation, we would die. No, worship is something that can be infused into everything we do. Absolutely everything that we do.